The deep history of Texas. How it became Texas Indigenous Foundations, pre-1500s, long before the name, Texas, existed. The land was home to a rich tapestry of Native American tribes. The Caddo people in East Texas were known for their advanced agricultural practices and mound building, and they may have been the first to greet Spanish explorers. The word Taisha, meaning friend, in the Caddoan language, would later inspire the name Tejas, and eventually, Texas. The Comanche dominated the Central Plains, known as fierce horse warriors, while the Apache, Tonkawa, and Karankawa thrived in the south and west. Spanish Texas, 1519 to 1821. Spanish explorer Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca was among the first Europeans to travel across Texas in the 1520s after being shipwrecked. Spain officially claimed Texas in 1690, establishing Catholic missions and presidios, military outposts, in an effort to control the land and convert native populations. The Spanish struggled to settle Texas in large numbers due to its remote, rugged terrain and native resistance. Most Spanish settlements remained small and scattered. Still, they planted early roots in places like San Antonio, founded in 1718, which would become a key cultural and military center. French interlude, 1685 to 1690. In an odd twist, France briefly laid claim to Texas when explorer La Salle mistakenly landed on the Gulf Coast while seeking the Mississippi River. His Fort St. Louis near Matagorda Bay collapsed within years, but it alarmed the Spanish into fortifying their own claims. The rivalry between Spain and France in the region added another layer to the emerging identity of the land. Mexican Texas, 1821 to 1836. In 1821, Mexico won independence from Spain and inherited control over Texas. Eager to populate the sparsely settled northern frontier, the Mexican government invited Anglo-American settlers to move in under strict conditions. They had to become Mexican citizens, convert to Catholicism, and obey Mexican laws, including the abolition of slavery. Stephen F. Austin led the first wave of legal American immigrants, bringing with him 300 families known as the Old 300. However, as more settlers arrived, many bringing enslaved people and refusing to fully assimilate, tensions grew. By the 1830s, cultural clashes, language barriers, and policy disagreements, especially over slavery and self-governance, ignited serious friction. When Mexican President Antonio López de Santa Anna abolished the country's Federalist Constitution and centralized power, many Texans, both Anglo and Tejano, saw this as tyranny. The Texas Revolution, 1835 to 1836, the tension exploded into war. In 1835, Texas settlers revolted against Mexican rule. Key events included the capture of San Antonio, the infamous Battle of the Alamo in 1836, where around 200 Texan defenders, including Davy Crockett and James Bowie, were killed after a siege by Santa Anna's army, and the Goliad Massacre, where hundreds of surrendered Texans were executed. The revolution turned when General Sam Houston led a surprise attack at the Battle of San Jacinto on April 21, 1836, capturing Santa Anna and forcing him to sign a treaty recognizing Texas independence, though Mexico would never officially acknowledge it. The Republic of Texas, 1836 to 1845. Texas became an independent nation. The Republic of Texas, complete with its own president, Congress, currency, and navy. But independence wasn't easy. The young republic faced constant threats from Mexico, deep debt, political instability, and even talks of annexation by Britain or France. Still, the idea of Texas as its own country lives on in Texan identity. The republic lasted nearly a decade, long enough for many Texans to begin identifying as something separate and distinct from both Mexico and the United States. Annexation and statehood, 1845 to 1846. After years of lobbying, the United States annexed Texas in 1845, a controversial move that helped trigger the Mexican-American War. President James K. Polk, a strong believer in manifest destiny, saw Texas as part of the natural expansion of the U.S. westward. On December 29, 1845, Texas officially became the 28th state of the United States. But unlike any other state, Texas retained the right, written into its terms of annexation, to divide into as many as 5 separate states in the future, a right it has never exercised. Legacy of borders and identity. Even after annexation, Texas's borders remained in dispute. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, 1848, ended the Mexican-American War and finalized the Rio Grande as the southern border. In 1850, Texas sold off land claims in modern-day New Mexico, Colorado, and elsewhere in exchange for $10 million to help pay off its Republic-era debts. To this day, Texas remains unique. It was once a sovereign nation, it fought its own revolution, and it has an identity that blends indigenous, Spanish, Mexican, Anglo, and African-American histories into one powerful, complex story. Hidden secrets and mysteries of Texas. The Marfa Light. Out in the West Texas desert near the town of Marfa, mysterious orbs of light appear in the night sky, dancing, flickering, and even splitting into multiple globes before disappearing. The first recorded sighting was in the 1880s by cowhands. Despite scientific attempts to explain them as car headlights or atmospheric reflections, no one has been able to prove exactly what causes the lights, leaving the door open for theories ranging from ghosts to UFOs to ancient energy. The Aurora UFO crash, 1897, a full 50 years before Roswell, the tiny town of Aurora, Texas, became the site of one of America's first alleged UFO crashes. In April 1897, locals claimed a cigar-shaped airship crashed into a windmill and exploded. The wreckage was scattered, and the townspeople said they found a small humanoid pilot, not of this world, whom they buried in the town cemetery. Though the original gravestone vanished, and many suspect a hoax, others believe it was covered up by early government agents. The lost treasure of Sam Bass. Outlaw Sam Bass was a legendary train and stagecoach robber in the 1870s who supposedly hid a massive stash of gold somewhere in the hill country, and possibly around Denton or Round Rock. When he was killed in a gunfight with Texas Rangers in 1878, he never revealed the treasure's location. To this day, treasure hunters still search the hills, caves, and riverbanks of central Texas hoping to strike gold. The Black-Eyed Children of Texas. The first reported sighting of the so-called Black-Eyed Children came from Abilene, Texas, in the 1990s. These creepy kids, with pale skin, old-fashioned clothes, and pitch-black eyes, are said to knock on doors or windows asking to be let in. The people who've encountered them report an overwhelming sense of dread. Urban legend or something more sinister? No one knows for sure, but sightings have spread across Texas and beyond. The secret tunnels of San Antonio. Beneath the streets of San Antonio, urban explorers whisper of a hidden labyrinth of tunnels that dates back to the Spanish colonial era. Some believe they were originally built as escape routes from the missions, while others say they were later expanded during Prohibition for smuggling alcohol. Local legends claim the tunnels still connect to haunted buildings downtown, and that the spirits of monks and mission soldiers still linger below. The Phantom Killer of Texarkana. In the spring of 1946, a masked serial killer terrorized the town of Texarkana, attacking young couples in parked cars. Known as the Phantom Killer, he murdered 5 people and seriously injured 3 others, and was never caught. The case inspired the cult horror film The Town That Dreaded Sundown, and the town still holds an annual screening at the park where one of the murders occurred. The identity of the killer remains one of Texas's creepiest unsolved mysteries. The Goatman's Bridge, Old Alton Bridge, located near Denton, this historic iron bridge is steeped in legend. Locals say that in the 1930s, an African-American goat farmer was lynched on the bridge by the KKK, and his spirit, now known as the Goatman, haunts the area. Witnesses have reported growling, strange smells, glowing eyes in the woods, and even being physically shoved while walking the bridge at night. Oakwood Cemetery and the Whispering Spirits of Austin. Austin's oldest cemetery, Oakwood, is known not only for its historical graves but also for ghostly activity. Many visitors report hearing whispers or catching glimpses of figures in Victorian dress walking between the tombstones. Some claim the spirits are those of Confederate soldiers, cholera victims, or women who died tragically during childbirth. The Giant of Lover's Leap near Waco, on a scenic cliff known as Lover's Leap, a lesser-known legend tells of a Native American couple from rival tribes who leapt to their deaths to be together. While that story has romantic roots, locals whisper of something else. Sightings of a towering shadowy figure near the edge, possibly a guardian spirit, possibly something ancient. Hikers have claimed to hear deep growls or feel watched in the area, especially at dusk. The haunted railroad tracks of San Antonio. One of the most popular ghost stories in Texas tells of a railroad crossing where a school bus full of children was hit by a train in the 1930s or 40s. The story's date varies. Legend says if you park your car on the tracks and put it in neutral, ghostly children will push it off the tracks to safety. And if you dust your bumper with powder, you'll find tiny handprints afterward. Though debunkers say it's an optical illusion caused by the slant of the road, believers aren't so sure. The Devil's Backbone. Stretching through the Texas Hill Country, the Devil's Backbone is a scenic but eerie limestone ridge known for its high strangeness. Locals report ghost sightings of Spanish monks, Confederate soldiers, and native spirits. Ranchers speak of spectral cattle and glowing orbs. Some even claim it's a spiritual portal, a place where the veil between worlds is thin. The cult cave of Mineral Wells, Texas, already known for its haunted Baker Hotel, hides another darker tale. A cave system said to have been used by a secretive cult in the early 1900s. Urban legends claim rituals were performed underground, with locals reporting strange symbols on the cave walls and an overwhelming sense of dread near the entrances. Some even believe disappearances in the area were linked to the cult's activities. The Presidio La Bahia, haunted fort of Goliad, built in the 1700s, Presidio La Bahia witnessed one of Texas's most tragic and brutal episodes: the Goliad Massacre during the Texas Revolution. Over 300 Texan prisoners of war were executed here in 1836. Today, visitors report ghostly moans, shadow figures, and the sound of phantom boots pacing the grounds at night. Even hardened skeptics admit the site carries a chilling energy. The Demon of El Paso High School, one of the oldest in the state, is infamous for its paranormal activity. The most terrifying tale? A photo in the school's archives showing a ghostly girl standing in a group portrait, a girl no one remembers being there. Her translucent image shocked everyone, and strange occurrences have plagued the school ever since. Disappearing lockers, screams from empty hallways, and figures walking through walls. The Crying Girl of White Rock Lake, Dallas. White Rock Lake is home to one of Texas's most enduring urban legends, the Lady of the Lake. Drivers near the lake have picked up a soaking wet woman in 1930s-style clothing who asks for a ride home. As the car nears her destination, she vanishes. The legend closely mirrors other classic, vanishing hitchhiker tales but has persisted with countless witness claims in Dallas for nearly a century. The Legend of the Donkey Lady Bridge, San Antonio. Horrifying legend rooted in vengeance and tragedy. A woman, burned alive in a fire by vengeful townsfolk, was said to have survived, grotesquely disfigured with skin melted to resemble a donkey features. She now haunts the bridge where the incident occurred, screaming and chasing away anyone who dares to stop their car there at night. Some even claim she's attacked passing vehicles. The Lake Worth Monster. In the summer of 1969, locals near Lake Worth, just outside Fort Worth, reported a bizarre creature described as half man, half goat, covered in scales and white fur. Witnesses even claimed it attacked a group of people and threw a tire over 500 feet. While skeptics chalked it up to a prank, believers insist it was a Texas cousin to the legendary Goatman or a cryptid unique to the Lone Star State. The Lost Mines of the Franklin Mountains in far west Texas. The Franklin Mountains near El Paso are rumored to contain the remnants of ancient mines filled with gold and guarded by spirits. Some legends link these mines to the Spanish conquistadors who hid their loot, or even earlier civilizations. Explorers have claimed to hear whispers, see sudden rockfalls, or witness glowing eyes in the caves, forcing them to turn back. The Ghost Lights of Saratoga, Bragg Road. Known as the Saratoga or Bragg Road Ghost Lights, these mysterious glowing orbs appear in the Big Thicket National Preserve near Beaumont. Locals say the lights are the lanterns of long-dead railroad workers, or perhaps the ghost of a beheaded rider searching for his lost head. The lights appear without warning, hover, follow people, and then vanish into thin air. The Chupacabra sightings of South Texas. The infamous Goat Sucker of Latin legend has made numerous appearances in South Texas, particularly in the Rio Grande Valley. Ranchers have discovered drained livestock with puncture wounds, and some claim to have seen a hairless, dog-like creature with glowing eyes and razor-sharp fangs. Though many believe it's a diseased coyote, others are convinced it's something entirely different and predatory. The mysterious disappearance of the Nueces Strip towns. Nueces Strip, the lawless region between the Nueces River and the Rio Grande, was once home to several small settlements during the 1800s. Oddly, some of these vanished without a trace. Entire towns simply disappeared from maps, and very little evidence remains they ever existed. Was it disease, war, or something more mysterious? Some researchers suspect these ghost towns were erased deliberately. The cursed painting of Galveston. The Galveston Historical Museum once hung a painting so disturbing that employees refused to work near it. The artist claimed it depicted spirits she saw in a dream, but those who looked at it too long felt nauseous, dizzy, or haunted. The painting has since been removed from public view, but its location and origin remain tightly guarded. The culture, cuisine, and charm of Texas. When you think of Texas, you might picture cowboy hats, barbecue, and wide open skies. And while that's definitely part of the Lone Star magic, this massive state is a cultural melting pot with something new around every corner. Let's start with culture. Texas is home to a beautifully diverse blend of influences: Mexican, German, Czech, African American, indigenous, and even French and Polish traditions are deeply woven into daily life here. In places like San Antonio, you'll see Spanish colonial architecture and centuries-old missions standing beside modern art districts. Over in Houston, one of the most diverse cities in the U.S., you can hear over 140 languages spoken and enjoy festivals from all over the world. And if you're up in the Panhandle or West Texas, expect to see signs of Native American heritage still thriving in tribal gatherings, traditional crafts, and historic landmarks. Then there's the music. Texas is the birthplace of legends like Willie Nelson, Beyoncé, and Buddy Holly. You'll find live music in nearly every city, from honky-tonk country in Fort Worth to Tejano and conjunto music in San Antonio. Austin, of course, wears the crown as the live music capital of the world, with venues on every corner and iconic festivals like South by Southwest and Austin City Limits. Looking for where to stay? If you're after luxury and southern charm, try the Hotel Emma in San Antonio, a stunning boutique hotel set inside a 19th-century brewery. In Austin, the Driscoll is both historic and hauntingly elegant, perfect for anyone who wants a little bit of old Texas with their modern comforts. If you're heading out west, you can stay under the stars in Marfa. Think chic desert yurts and minimalist art-inspired rentals that'll make you feel like you're in a modern-day Western film. Ready for some fun? Ride horseback through Big Bend National Park, kayak in the sparkling waters of the Hill Country's spring-fed rivers, or explore the surreal otherworldliness of Cadillac Ranch in Amarillo, where half-buried Cadillacs are covered in layers of spray paint. In Dallas, you can spend the day walking through art museums, botanical gardens, and even visit the spot where JFK was assassinated, a somber but important piece of American history. And now let's talk about food, because Texas is a food lover's dream. Barbecue here isn't just food, it's a lifestyle. In Lockhart, the so-called barbecue capital of Texas, you can try legendary brisket so tender it melts in your mouth. But it's not all smoked meats. You'll find some of the best Tex-Mex and Mexican cuisine north of the border in cities like El Paso and San Antonio. Think enchiladas, tamales, and sizzling fajitas served with fresh tortillas. Don't sleep on the German sausages and kolaches in central Texas towns like Fredericksburg, where the heritage is still very much alive. And for dessert? Bluebell ice cream from Brenham is practically a statewide obsession. Want something adventurous? Try chicken fried steak, chili without beans, or a bowl of spicy menudo if you're feeling brave. Texas is also home to a growing food truck scene, especially in Austin, where you'll find gourmet tacos, vegan comfort food, and fusion dishes you never saw coming. And in Houston, you can eat your way across the globe in one city block: Nigerian jollof rice, Vietnamese pho, Pakistani biryani, and Creole gumbo all coexist like it's the most natural thing in the world. Whether you're dancing two-step in a country bar, taking a selfie in front of a giant roadside pecan, or soaking in the view from the top of Enchanted Rock, Texas brings you big heart, big flavor, and big fun. So come for the cowboy dreams, stay for the culture, and don't forget to bring your appetite.